pretty frustrated after the last game. How did you feel the team responded to that in this one?
It was a good win. I think I give credit to some of those guys in Orlando. We had the game, had a good lead, and those guys came in and just played hard. On the Orlando side, they got some shots to go down, and they felt good. Obviously, we got to do a better job of that. Don't let kind of human nature kind of seep in. But I think the first 3 quarters, I thought we did a good job.
It feels like you guys have been in that situation a few times this year where you guys are up, other team makes a run, and you guys have to sort of play, just hang on. How have you felt you guys have responded in those situations, and what goes into, fending off another team's run like that?
Yeah, you can't take your foot off the gas. I feel like, young teams, you get up by a comfortable margin, they think the game is all sewn up. I have enough experience to know that anything can happen. Teams can come back, get back into the game. 20 points is not really anything. So you can't go away from what we got us to lead. You got to keep playing the same brand of basketball. I feel like when we get up, sometimes we veer and try to get into our own, thought process of what we need to do, and I feel like that's how you open the door for a team to come back.
Jaylen, did you feel like last game was an aberration compared to the effort you guys have had this season, or did you feel like there have been kind of moments or more than you would like to see of those kinds of going through the motion stretches?
Yeah, I think for the most part we've had good effort and energy about ourselves. So I think last game, I want to say hopefully it's an anomaly. More times than not we've been the harder playing team or been playing just as hard as the other team. So we just got to maintain that and also keep that humility that it's hard to win in this league. And we can't take anything for granted, especially, this year. So we just got to be focused. And I thought, today, first 3 quarters, we came out and took care of business.
Jaylen, this was Jordan's 5th straight start. He was mentioning in New York that, you kind of advocated for him, went to Joe saying we need a defensive stopper and, he could be that guy. What made you think that, and, how did that conversation go about getting him into more minutes initially and then the starting lineup?
Just Jordan has the body type to do it. You know what I mean? He's athletic. He got a 6'7" frame, long arms, and I've seen him in practice be, defensively very active. It's those 6'7" wings that they give trouble to smaller guards and stuff like the Brunsons, the Maxis, and things like that. Putting a bigger body on them. We have a lot of small guards on our team, so we have to bring that level of physicality. But I think Jordan, Hugo, and Josh, they've rotated between who's gotten minutes, who's started, and I think their mindset has all been the same. So we just got to continue to empower that and continue to encourage, depending on the matchup, depending on who we play that, whoever the best player is, we got to come out, take them away, not to let them get to what they want and be better defensively. And I think that's what those guys are trying to do.
Jaylen, when they were making their run in that 4th quarter, you scored, I believe it was 12 straight points. Are those the moments you feel like that's when you show a little extra leadership that they need me more now?
Yeah, I mean, when my team needs me, I would like to be there, but it's a team game. So tonight, when I was drawing help, I was trying to find guys in rhythm for some shots, even when they doubled in the post and things like that. When they brought somebody over, just trying to take my time to make the right read. I'm still growing and just coming out and managing the game, especially when it gets into the 4th quarter. But these are all good information for me down the line. So just keep getting better as the season goes on. I think that's the key.
Jaylen, you talked about human nature. You talk about a smaller margin for error in this year's team. The 2nd quarter, you guys, when you're fully connected, you can play really great. And then the second that kind of wanes, you give up 40-point quarters.
Exactly.
How do you, knowing that in a lot of these games this has happened, how do you get away from letting that human nature seep in and letting these long things continue to happen?
Honestly, I think it's experience. I think that being in that position enough times, I've known that if you kind of change your mentality or you let your foot off the gas, that a team could come right back. I think we have a bunch of guys who are in that position for the first time and kind of learning that just because you're up 20 points going into the 4th quarter does not mean the game is over. And I think that is something that just through experience, people who've played in the league or played on teams, winning teams, know that. So you can't change your mentality. You can't think, oh, now it's time to play around, or now it's time to go away from the game plan. You gotta, no matter what the score is, you gotta treat it like it's 0-0, and that's the mentality. But you can see that when you have less experience, that mentality wanes.
And I don't want to call anybody out specifically, but this is a different group where there are guys fighting for minutes. They're in competition with each other. There are contracts. So those moments you're talking about where they have to think a certain way, those are the moments where it's like, hey, I can go get mine. I can go earn a spot. I can go earn maybe they're auditioning, they think, for another team, another opportunity. How do you fight that where this is a job, this is their profession? How do you fight that thing that they might want to do for the good of the team?
Just holding each other accountable. I think stepping up, having voices, being a leader, me being able to speak to that. But even guys that's been in the league for a while, Derek's voice is important. Even Xavier X, his voice is important on the sideline, and our coaches as well, being able to reiterate that. Sometimes we all get caught like just watching the game, but we need to be able to empower and speak to each other and communicate to make sure we keep the same mentality.
Last three questions, Abby, Gary, and then Justin.
You spoke about Jordan, but what have you seen in the evolution of that bench unit? I mean, those guys obviously hitting shots tonight and scoring, but just kind of being able to come together and help this team win.
They're taking steps forward. I think they're growing and taking steps forward, and I think that's the most important thing. Defensively, taking steps forward, trying to play without fouling, but being able to be aggressive. And then offensively, being able to be in the right spots at the right time and being able to make some plays. So I've seen growth and improvement, and we just got to continue to empower that. It's not going to be perfect, but we just got to continue to develop. Our coaching staff and stuff like that got to continue to develop, watch film, and then come out and be confident and to make plays.
Jaylen, you picked up a tech in the second quarter. Was that one you meant to get, or was that just kind of, what can you take me through that, just kind of getting that tech? But it just seems like you're getting your tolerance is kind of getting lower on the whistles.
How many techs do I got this year? 3. I'm not a guy. I don't know what my career number for techs is per season, but it's probably the most I've gotten early in the season. I'm gonna just try to keep my mouth shut.
Jaylen, Joe was talking about how he sees Anfernee kind of getting more comfortable coming off the bench and being aggressive right away. Just what have you seen from him specifically in these last 3 games?
Yeah, that's what we need. Anfernee is capable offensively. We got to continue to find spots and space for him to be a playmaker for himself and for others, be aggressive, yeah, he's capable. So that's what we got to continue to empower and finding that rhythm for him. It's not easy, it's coming off the bench, a new role for him, but I think he's been adjusting well, so I'm finding ways. I think the coaching staff is finding ways specifically to, get him in some actions and get him going a little bit because, he can fill it up if you give him space.